Hi everyone, welcome to the Power Day Lunch with Dustin Mathews from Speaking Empire. We're really excited to be answering some questions today. We got a lot of questions from all of you, so we're excited. Can you hear?
We're going to get started soon.
Hang tight, we're going to get started soon.
If you have questions.
There's no one watching it.
That's okay, you got it.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Power Day Lunch with Dustin Mathews. We're really excited to have you all here. We have a lot of questions and we are ready to answer them all. Dustin will be starting very soon, so just hang on. And if you have any questions that you want to ask, go ahead and leave them in the chat box. And we'll be answering some of those as well. For those of you who are just joining us, thank you. We're going to be having a Power Day Lunch with Dustin Mathews from Speaking Empire. We are going to be answering all of the questions you guys sent us in, but if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below or on this chat group. We will be answering some more questions, but we're going to get started at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hola, en español. Just for fun.
For those of you who are just joining us, this is the Power Day Lunch with Dustin Mathews. We're going to be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a lot of questions that were asked by you guys. Some of them were really funny, to be honest, and we're really excited to answer them. Yeah, in the end of February, we have a big event coming up in Clearwater, Florida, and we're excited to see some of you guys there. So I actually work here at Speaking Empire. My name's Manuela Barron. I do all of this stuff, the technical, social media, getting everything done in that aspect. And I actually know Dustin Mathews because of my father, and we got introduced, and I went to their event, and I was just blown away from their speaking abilities and everything. So I really wanted to join the team and help out as much as possible. Thank you guys so much for joining. I know we keep having people come in. So this is the Power Day Lunch with Dustin Mathews from Speaking Empire, and he's going to be answering all your questions. He honestly said it can be about anything, marketing, speaking, personal, who knows. So if you have any questions that you have not asked, go ahead and leave them in the chat box. We're going to be answering those here as well as the ones that were emailed in. Okay, so now I guess I'll present Justin, who's going to get started with the Q&A.
All right, hello everyone. Super excited to be doing this open office. There's a few minutes before we get started, and we've got people that have registered or at least responded to the emails because there was no registration from all over the world coming in with their questions. So a few minutes before we officially get started here at the open office. That was Manuela that you just heard from. She is an intern here and actually is a YouTube celebrity, despite as shy as she was on the camera there. So that's Manuela. For those of you that are coming to the Speaking and Marketing Academy that's coming up in February, you'll get a chance to meet her and pick her brain if you'd like to on YouTube. And that's the reason for doing this, open office live on hair hangout. And so I said, let's do some stuff with YouTube. And she's like, well, let's do a hangout instead because of the optimization. So she has a lot of stuff that she didn't get to share here. But if you want to know more about that, you can feel free to ask that question on all the social media channels. You can be on Facebook and ask the question, or you should be able to do it right through here through the Google Hangout. So before we get started, I'm going to take you on a tour of the Speaking Empire headquarters because there are folks from all around the world that are on this hangout on this open office. Many people haven't seen the office. Some of you have seen the office, whether you've been here live or you see the videos. And so one thing I thought I'd do before we get really rocking and rolling here is explain what is this backdrop. You see it if you've looked at our YouTube channel, or if you've gotten emails and videos from Dave or myself or any of the team members at Speaking Empire. What this represents behind me right here are all the different clients and products that they have. And I said all, but that's not the truth. We'd actually need a wall. Well, I think if every wall in the office had a shelf, like 4 deep, we could maybe accommodate all the different products and services. And so what this represents are all the different folks that we've worked with. And so you'll see a lot of real estate products because Dave and I got started in real estate. You'll also see some internet marketing. You'll see even some international ones here. Actually, I think they're back over here this way. You'll see some international folks, such as our friends from Russia, Valery and Yuri. They actually own Speaking Empire Russia. And we've had folks come from Cyprus. We've had people come from China. And so, again, if you're just joining us live, thank you. Congratulations. I'm really excited for the questions that we have. If you're just sort of hanging out in the background and you haven't asked your question, feel free to do so. And I'll be taking those live here. And I will warn you about this. If you're ever doing a Google Hangout or on-air webcast, opening up to any question possible is fun and exciting. Just be prepared for any question possible. And so really this Hangout is geared toward getting to know the Speaking Empire team, the headquarters, and then also for me to help you in the areas of speaking, marketing, but heck, I opened it up for everything. So I'm super excited. Again, it's 1 o'clock Eastern time, so we're officially gonna get started. Thanks for joining us. If you are just getting in right now, you are at the Speaking Empire office headquarters. Behind me are classic books and products of services of the folks that we work with at Speaking Empire, coaches, authors, consultants, business owners, even folks in the corporate space selling franchises, selling into corporate America. We've helped write presentations and help people get their message out. And so our first official open office for this year begins right now. And so the first thing I want to do is actually I want to take you behind the scenes. So you see this and you see sometimes awesome sets, and what you really don't see is the stuff behind the scenes. And so we're going to attempt this here. And so this is the Speaking Empire office. I'm kind of going to back out for a little bit just to show you. So we've got the lights. There's Manuela there, right there. All right. Over here on the wall, you'll see our client wall. So this is a tradition. When clients come into the office, or when you guys come into the office, we have folks from all around the world. They actually put a pin up there. I'm not sure if you can see that. Other cool, fun, interesting things, if you can see back there, is our Dave's blueprint. You see the blueprint for speaking. You also see some bobbleheads. You know, the bobbleheads actually aren't that expensive to have made, and I think we did it on Groupon for less than $100 per bobblehead. So if you ever wanted a bobblehead yourself, you can do that right there. Let's see, what else is there? You'll also notice a picture on the wall back there. That's of Dave at a Get Motivated. Get Motivated were the events that used to be in existence where you could, where we had the opportunity to speak on a stage with past presidents, celebrities, different folks, where these stadiums were filled with 40 to 50,000 folks. On the wall, you'll also notice some awards hanging here. You'll notice, depending on how this displays on the screen here, Business Credit Infusion. That was a product that I launched about 8 years ago, and it showed people how to get entrepreneurs how to get business lines of credit, money for their business. And so the reason for the award is we did $1 million in sales of that information product, packaged actually someone else's ideas into a product, and I actually went on the road, sold it, and then sold it via a webinar online. And then of course, there's the platinum record there as well. That is Dave's Foreclosures Daily, $14 million in sales. And so as you can see, his is platinum, and it's slightly a little more elevated because that's just Dave's style. So I'll take you a little bit around here, and then we'll get into Q&A and asking your questions live. So right behind me here is our boardroom. And so this is where folks come in. We work one-on-one. We write presentations right in here. This is where all the team meetings happen. You can see some notes on the table, some prep of getting going. And I'd show you the view, but the lighting's really bad. So we have a beautiful view of the water right here. Maybe on another hangout when the sun is setting, you guys would be able to see that. The other thing I'll do is I'll take you here. One of our newest members of the team, that's Bob. That's our tech genius right there. So he's fielding questions and making sure the website's up and running and functional. Say hi, Bob.
How you doing?
No, you're supposed to say hi, Bob.
Oh, hi, Bob.
There you go. All right. We can have some fun today, right? And then finally, here's my office here. It's really messy. Some people look at all the paper, like my wife Missy, and she says I'm hoarding. I don't think of it as hoarding. I think of it as a fine collection of marketing antiquities. And that's where all the marketing ideas, emails, and swipe files come from there. And that's a lesson in itself. And so for those of you that struggle to write or create copy or marketing ideas and strategies, collect a bunch of it, go into the archives, and it's a whole lot easier to create when you can model what other people are doing. And so you'll see down this hallway is, oh, there's Nicole right there. Say hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
She already knows the drill. And you can kind of see the view out there of the water here in St. Pete, Florida. We're up in an office building, and that's the view outside there. And so you can see just different things on the wall, Dave and I's best-selling books, picture of the mastermind. And so we like to decorate the office and have some fun and do some cool stuff. You'll also notice this classic sales bell for those of you that are in environments. It lets everyone know that a new customer is on board throughout the whole office, and everyone gets excited by that. So I think Caroline is in her office, which is right in that door. So that's the mystery that you'll have to come to the office and see what's inside there. And then there's one other wing of the office back there, and there's folks on the phone. So you probably couldn't hear me. So if I went back there. So I hope you enjoyed that little tour. If you're just joining us, welcome. This is the open office here at Speaking Empire, where I'm here to tackle your toughest questions and challenges. And so before I get to that, when doing a hangout or really doing anything, if you look at the best entertainers out there in the world, and I think of late night, especially Tonight Show, I think of, all the entertainment that's out there. Usually you've got about 15 or 10 minutes of monologue. And so I started the hangout just getting everyone excited and then also taking you on a tour. And so one of the things that's on my mind is, as a strategy that I want to give to you before we get into the questions, is a lot of people ask me, Dustin, how do you generate, or how do you find the right clients to work with? And there's no shortage of ideas for sure on how to attract clients. You can do it on Facebook, you can do direct mail, you can go to trade shows and events. And so the real key part of the question is, how do you find what some people call the whales? How do you find the higher level clients? And so you want to ask yourself, do you want to just work with anybody, or do you want to work with people that are easy to work with? They have money, they also refer. And so the obviously answer to that is, you want to work with the ones that are easy to work with and refer and bring you more business. And so I was just on the phone before this with the owner and the operator or the editor of Insurance Newsnet. And so for us here at Speaking Empire, to let you behind the scenes, one of the things that we've identified are financial planners are great clients of Speaking Empire. Well, why is that? Well, when they go out and they sell and they do their thing and get customers and clients, their customer value is extremely high. And so thinking through to who you're going after, if they sell high-end products and services, they can afford to buy high-end products and services. And so one of the things that we're doing strategically is we're actually advertising in Insurance Newsnet. And so this is a magazine, and you can do this in any industry. There's a dentist one, there's a chiropractor, there's one for attorneys. And so if you desire to find higher end clients, you have to go fishing in the right ponds. And so one of the strategies I love to do, and it's extremely old school, it's not Facebook or Twitter or Periscope or all the flashy new things, is classic print advertising. And so what we did, this actually was a feature of Dave in the magazine, but in the ones following, we ran display ads. So basically it was just an advertisement offering a free presentainer kit, which was an ad designed to talk directly to a financial planner or advisor, saying, look, if you want to be a better communicator, if you want to present one-to-many, then opt in to get this free presentainer kit. And so now on purpose, strategically, we are attracting the right clients and services. And so it requires a little bit of thought. And then once you have the idea of who you're going to go after, you got to figure out, what do they read? Where do they hang out, and how can I get access to them? And so for those of you that would like to market to financial advisors, I highly suggest you have a conversation with Paul over at Insurance Newsnet or one of his team members, because we've been able to generate over 180 brand new leads to get people excited about Speaking Empire and invite them to our events. And so by running advertisements in here, driving people to a web page, we've been able to do that. And then we follow up with them via phone, email, and the whole 9 yards. So again, I hope you enjoyed that strategy. If you're just joining us, and if you ever heard me speak before, then you know I sound a little off today, and that's because I'm coming off of something fun and interesting and exciting. Some people might call that sick. I just choose never to use that word. And so excuse the voice, but as they say in Hollywood, the show must go on. And so I'm here to serve today, and I'm here to invite you to ask questions. I'm just going to grab them real quick. In the background is Manuela, so you may hear me talking to somebody. That's just Manuela to make sure that we're rocking and rolling. The one thing I would ask, which I should have done at the beginning, is if you can hear me okay, just let me know. So whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube or in the Google Hangout itself, just go ahead and chat and just let us know the sound quality is okay. You can hear me, and no comments about my gravelly voice. We'll just let that ride for today's Hangout, okay? All right, so I'll give you guys just a second. Just let me know that the audio is okay, because there's a little bit of a delay, and just let me know. Manuela, are we good?
So.
While we're waiting for the answers to come in, as you can see, this is not a product placement, although it very well could be. You just got lit up as a reference to a show. I don't know if you guys have seen that show, Suits, and I heard him say that and actually have a mug in the actual TV show. And I'm like, I got to get this. So I got this, I ordered this mug, and this is like my favorite mug. So if you see me with this, you understand the reference now. All right, friends. So again, welcome to this open office, this Hangout, and we're going to go to all the questions are answered. And so some people are asking, is there going to be a recording? Because some people are in and out. Yes, we are recording this. As you know, Google Hangout actually, I think it auto records. Is that right, Manuel? It just auto records your Hangout. So it's a great way to create content, great way to build engagement and engagement with your audience, with you guys. All right, so I got the first question, and I do want to say one thing, and then we'll get right to our promise. Some of these questions are funny. Some of these questions are off kilter, meaning when I opened it up, I said, you can ask me a question about anything. I really was fishing for business related speaking questions, anything to help empower you and get you to the next level. But we got some interesting ones. And as promised, I said I would answer it. And so you're going to get these answers. And so this should be fun and exciting and add some extra entertainment when you do this. All right. So our first question comes from Patrick. And Patrick Vandervalk, and I think he's from Amsterdam or from the Netherlands, because we have done some speaking over there. We built up a fan base, or we built up a client base over there, and so we're getting a lot of questions and requests there. So Patrick's question says this, and real quick, I know I said we'd get started, but oftentimes you learn more by listening to other people's questions, right? So rather than your own question, which you'll get an answer for, it's powerful to listen to other people's questions and say, well, how can I apply that now to my business, or at least what I'm doing? So now to Patrick's question. Patrick asks, after working for many startups over the years and starting a few of them as well, I decided to become an executive consultant for startups. My pitch is that I have 20 years of startup experience and that founders and CEOs can buy my time. The idea is that people always complain that they don't have time to develop some new ideas. This solves that problem. I can quickly get what they want and then move some of their ideas forward. Do you think this is a good enough pitch? Any ideas on how to improve it? And so, Manuel, I think we lost our TV feedback here. So I think you just might have to do the mouse here. So the answer is, do I think it's a good enough pitch? I think it's a start of a pitch, but I think in today's day and age, there's no shortage of people that are consultants, that are coaches. I like the fact that you have niched yourself for CEOs. You may even go CEOs that are in startup mode, but you may even go tech startup CEOs, right? So that gets you even refined. And I know instantly some people say, well, Dustin, if I'm so niche, I'm going to really limit the amount of people that I'm talking to. And so they say is you want to be known for something, then you can always expand, right? So if you can be the surgeon that fixes this one particular disease or this one particular ailment, you instantly will be in more demand because there's only one of you. You instantly will be able to charge more of a price, and you'll instantly be seen as the authority because of that sort of niche. Not to say that that guy or that gal surgeon couldn't go and do other surgeries. They can do that, but you want to be known for something. And so the question, the other thing I would add to strengthen this pitch here is, how do you relate this to money? So as an entrepreneur myself, generating new ideas isn't hard for me. I know for others it can be, but at the end of the day, a new idea is a new idea, but a new idea that is profitable is better. A new idea that's profitable and that can be implemented in 30 days or less is even better. A new idea that's going to generate equity for my company will be even better, plus everything I just said. So I would say that tie it back to money. So no matter what you do, people want to generate more money, or they want to ascend the career ladder. If we're going in corporate, they want to be able to take the ideas that you can help them with and be able to instantly jump up a management level, or be instantly able to advance their career, which if you think about it is ego. And it's also tied back to money as well. And so meaning that when they advance and they get VP or they become the CEO of that company or whatever, they're going to make more money. It also is tied back to that ego. So the one thing I would give to you, or the couple things I would give to you, Patrick, is I would say refine your pitch, make it more niched. Also, what I would say is tie it back to money, productivity, things that result. No one just wants a brand new idea. No one just wants an idea. They want something they can implement quickly. They want it to be profitable, and they want maybe some sort of ego attached to it, that it's going to help them grow their message. It's going to help them move up and be recognized in the place that they're not. That's what I would do. And the other thing too is the idea that you say here, the idea that people always complain they don't have time to develop new ideas. Work that into your presentation. So the fact that you say that you don't have time is the reason why you need me. So use the languaging that you've shared with me here and use that in your sales presentation. And the final thing here, I know it's a long answer, but I think this applies for everyone, is if you're doing a presentation, whether you do a webinar, a hangout, or you speak live, one of our favorite strategies, and you're about to hear the printer go off in the background. So this is an open office, you know, we're not in a studio. This is right here in the office. You know it's real. Phones will ring. So what I'm saying is that one of our favorite new strategies is that when we present, we drive people to a strategy session and we diagnose and we take them through a process. And so in your world, especially in the corporate world, one of our clients, Dr. Laurel Geis, is doing this where she's going into the corporate world. She's doing a diagnostic, or she's doing a strategy session to prescribe and figure out what those challenges are, and then providing a custom solution. All right, so Scott Mitchell, here's a fun one. He asked, what's your single most important question about improving your health? So he asked me a question related back to me, which was kind of weird. But Scott, I appreciate the question. And so, well, the biggest question is, how can I quickly overcome whatever it is that I have, which I feel like I've turned the corner on because all the stuff is like draining, probably too much information, I know. So that would be my single biggest question about improving health. By the way, Scott, just to share a quick story, and with everyone there, I don't know if you noticed, I was 20 pounds overweight. Maybe some of you can see it in my face from, I'd say, about 2 years ago. And so I'm on this thing called the Bulletproof Diet. It's a trendy thing where I put butter in the coffee. Manuela's shaking her head over here. But it's really worked for me because it's taught me to eliminate sugar. Not eliminate sugar, I still have it, but a lot less. Like I used to drink a coffee in the morning. I drink coffee in the afternoon. I loved tea, iced tea, sweet tea from the South, Georgia style, if you think about it that way. So I was doing a lot of sugar. So that's my health talk there. Scott sounds like he's an expert there, or at least fishing for information. For me, it's very specific to the challenge that I have right now, which is I got this funk going on and I want to completely get rid of it because I need to be a productive entrepreneur. So that is my single biggest question about health. Chris, will you be my mentor? Chris, absolutely, I'll be your mentor. I'll be mentor to anyone, and that's why I'm here. So I love to share, I love to serve, and so a lot of people ask this question and don't really know, how do you work with Speaking Empire? How do you work with Dave and Dustin? And it's not just about myself as a guru or as a trainer, it's really about the team. So I'm just a guy that gets in front of the camera and shares the ideas that we come up with. And so, yes, I'm be your mentor via Hangouts, videos that we share through our products and services that we offer. And probably the biggest thing that I can share, because it changed my life. You know, I remember being 10 years ago, it's 11 now, that I just got started in sort of the speaking, personal development, this sort of information industry, coaching, consulting, that thing. And the biggest thing that really accelerated my success was putting myself in the environment. Meaning live events, going to where successful people were hanging out and feeling the energy as much as that means to you, but also rubbing shoulders, talking to them, listening into the conversations that were going on that like were way over my head, but at least was going into my brain. And so for me, it was important to digest and read as much materials like you see behind you as possible, but also to put myself in the live event environment where people were moving and shaking, I could talk, and there can be this interchange of ideas. So I'm happy to mentor you via that format. If you have a more specific question, I would love to hear it as well. All right, another fun one. Again, if you're just joining us, this is the open office at Speaking Empire. We don't have any cut to commercials like you'd see on TV. I would recommend that though for next time. But for now, just questions to your, or answers to your questions. So Joshua Daniel says, what will my future be like? Or actually as direct as, what is my future like? All right, let me, we need our like musical sound effects and a ball to pop up. Well, Joshua, I can tell you this. The fact that you're, one, on a Speaking Empire or on anyone's list and you have actually taken an action and responded to a question is a good sign. And what I mean by that is I can already tell about you that you aquire to know more. You're in pursuit of information, ideas, exchange. And the fact that you actually took an action and put yourself out there to ask the question was huge. And so your future looks good as long as you continue to take those actions. And so many of us are like this, and meaning that in any area of our life, we may be like a rock star salesperson. We may be like, Mr. Bodybuilder, complete, awesome body, right? But then when we come over here and we're like, I want to learn something new, or I want to do something different. Or like for me, in my case, I've got a 18-month-old baby, right? Is that how you say it? 18-month, Dexter. And so I want to be a great father. And so, I'm a great marketer, right? I'm a great business owner. And so this is a new skill set. I'm sure I can apply a lot of different things that I've learned over here in terms of leadership into being a good dad. However, a lot of times when we enter a new area, we at least I do, I tend to forget like all of the other stuff that got me to where I am now. And so the big thing is take a look at what's been successful in the past in your area of life and at least apply it, but also go out and put yourself in the environment, read the books, go out and talk to people. Like I'm always asking people like, what do you do when this happens? Or like, hey, when do the kids start to talk? Or when does this happen? And so the real quick answer to that long answer is your future looks good. Just continue to take that action and continue to put yourself in the environment and continue down that path. I always wrap up Hangouts with this, and I'll probably do it today as well. Whatever your goal is in life, if you'll just take one small step a day, so maybe it's lose 10 pounds, maybe it's make money online, maybe it's to go get your first speaking gig. Just take one small action a day. And an action can be read a book. It can be email somebody, get on a Hangout and figure out what's going on in this marketplace, right? If you just do one action a day, at the end of a year, that's 365 days, unless it's what, leap year, right? 366 on leap year. You should know this. You're in school, right? You'll have taken 365 actions. You'll be amazed at where you end up if you just chunk it out, okay? So just continue to do so, Joshua. John's a client of Speaking Empire. He's been to our workshops. He's been to the, I think, Presentainer and the group Power Day. He's coming back for the marketing workshop. So John, it's great to have you ask. He asked this question, John, when you're starting out and don't necessarily have a name, following, or funding, what would you recommend to get the message out to be able to secure stages and webinars? So do you have this question? Are you thinking the same thing where you're in that same boat? Like you don't feel like you have a name, you're not famous, that sort of thing. So a real quick story to an answer and a Kleenex, Manuela, because it's draining. I'm sure they love to hear that. So John, the answer is when I first got started, what I did was I actually created a newsletter, a print newsletter, mind you, yeah, old school. And I put together a list of all the gurus that I wanted to, and trainers in the space that I was going after. So in this case, it was real estate. We put together a list, and I mean, I put together the list, typing it into my Excel document, uploading it into my database that I put onto my credit card, Infusionsoft at the time. They used to charge $5 grand, by the way. I don't know if you know that. But anyway, I put this list together. I did all the work, and then I started to send a print newsletter. Now I got a little bit smarter, and I enrolled my girlfriend, who's now my wife, Missy, at the time. I would make a newsletter, 4 pages. It was called Dirty Talk, and I think we used to have it back here. And it was a newsletter that I would send in the mail to start building my name recognition and branding, right? And so I would send it, and by the 3rd month after sending it, I got a call, hey, I had a speaker cancel. Looks like you got this business credit thing that you're doing. Can you come out and speak to my group? And so in 3 months' time, I was able to do that by just staying at top of mind awareness. Now, it may not happen in 3 months for you, but the strategy is important, and that is go and find the ideal folks that you want to get on their stages. Make a list of them. Chet Holmes calls this the Dream 100. Go 100, go 150, go as much as you want. And so I started with 50, and then I personally direct mailed them my newsletter, which, by the way, I was living in a condo complex at the time. There was this copy machine in the clubhouse that I used. So I made one good copy, great copy, printed it out, and then we took it to the copy machine. And like this thing was like the 1980s. Xerox copy machine, and it had maybe 5% toner. So if you can imagine the quality of copies that come out was not good. But the fact was, we made it, we printed it, we stuffed envelopes. Missy helped me with that. We put stamps on it, and we actually mailed it out. And because of that, we got awareness. Now, what's the cool new way to do this today? Well, you can stalk people on Facebook. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is you can actually get all the email addresses of the people that you're looking for, the gurus, and then retarget them. Or I think, Manuel, maybe you know this, you can actually look for a person's profile and you can actually display ads specifically to them. And so if you wanted to build a name for yourself in terms of the people, I don't want to say the people that matter, but the people that can pull the trigger on the stages or the webinars that you want to be on, John, what I would say is that you could target them and run an ad about who you are. And when they log into their Facebook, especially I think because, John, you're in the internet marketing crowd, so these guys are on Facebook, you can do that as well. So I'm a big fan of do it online through remarketing, retargeting, go to seminars, which I already know you go to. And then the third thing is direct mail. Now, the last thing on go to seminars is what I would say is volunteer. So when I was first getting started and trying to make a name, I would just get, can I do a content webinar, you know, with your list? I would look for people that needed content folks. So I didn't go in, hey, I'm trying to sell. I was trying to build the name. And so I offered to do things free for them. I tried to figure out what was my angle in to help them. So if I see they're a new dad, or if I see that they love tennis, which I love to do, I love to play tennis, I would mail them something like Marcel did to me when I shared this from stage once. And so he brought a tennis racket and tennis balls, and that really stuck out in my mind. And so it's that personal human connection. If you can just find that in, whether that's volunteer or just listen to what they're putting out there on social media or at their seminars, listen for something that's personal and make that connection even further. That at least gets your foot in the door to have the conversation and then go from there. The other thing that I've done, which is helpful and self-serving, Manuel's going to like this, maybe not so much, is buy their products. And the reason why is I remember doing this. Alexis McGee, I think that is her name, owns Foreclosure, not Foreclosures, I think it's foreclosure.com. And so I bought 2 of her books. They came in the mail, and I put them up just like this, and I took a goofy picture like that, like just something off kilter, because if I just hold them up like this and I'm not even smiling, you know, it's not good. And I took a picture of that. And then I wrote her a handwritten note. Hey, I just got 2 copies of your books. I would love to run an idea by you. I think it can radically change what you're doing, right? And the copy can be stronger. I'm ad-libbing here of what I did years ago. And I put it in a FedEx envelope to get her attention. Now, I didn't get her to call me back. I got her assistant who set up a call with me. And so I was able to get through to the gatekeeper by doing something special like that. So what I would say is if you're having a really hard time getting a hold of the person, that is the person you want to talk to. I think it was Brian Tracy or maybe Zig Ziglar that said that. The guy or gal that you want to talk to is the hardest person to get a hold of. And so once you get through that with a creative marketing idea, then you can get your foot in the door and have that conversation. So I hope that helps. All right, I'm going to take a sip real quick. I'm going to let you guys decompress for just 1 second. I'm going to decompress for 1 second here, sort of like our TV commercial hangout. I don't know that we have fancy music because when we put music, YouTube always does the, hey, this isn't your music sort of thing. So 1 second while we take a live break. Okay, we're back. For those of you that were just impatient. Okay, we got lots of questions to get through. So I hope you're having as much fun as I am. Again, this is SpeakingEmpire.com. I will do my commercial, and we have an event coming up, and we'd love to answer these questions live for you and help you joint venture. And so big events coming up, SpeakingMarketingAcademy.com. If you've been living under a rock or somehow the email just did not get into your inbox, we've been sending out a lot. Yes, I know. And so if you haven't heard about it, go check it out there. We already have 90 people registered. We're 20 days out, so we're on pace to have a really rock solid event. So next question. This one comes, let me see here. This is going, let's show. I think this is from Maya. How do you get meeting planners to say yes and hire you, even when they say my calendar is already full, but I will keep your name on file for future reference? Great question, as that pop-up box, I don't know if you saw it right there, just came up. That's okay, Manuel. They already know this is sort of raw Speaking Empire open office. What you see is what you get. And so it's really the same answer to what I gave to John. And that is, you got to find a creative way to make people pay attention to you. And so that is the default. You're right, Maya. That is the default answer. I'm busy. Like I probably said that, I don't know how many times this week, right? And so you got to find that creative way. So just like I bought someone's program and I mailed them a picture of me doing the crazy picture with the books, you got to do that as well. But these people probably don't have product or service. So can you look them up on Facebook and find some intel about what their likes are, photos, places they've been, and send something to them. The other thing I would say is this, and I actually was helping a client out with this the other day, the other week, and it was this. A lot of people create like speaker one sheets. Maybe you have one, and maybe it's even fancy and it's 4 sheets and it's like, a brochure folded, right? I say show up with a shock and awe package. And what I mean by that is when you want to get someone's attention, you send a big box. Now, obviously the cost goes way up on this. So you want to be strategic and make sure you're sending them to the right people. And so send them a box in the mail that has a copy of your book, testimonials about how awesome you are, a DVD, or nowadays you don't really use DVDs as much, although if you're in certain marketplaces you do. Don't let that fool you. A USB drive with you speaking. And so as an example, that free presentator kit that I was talking about, when people email us in, put their name in for the opt-in to request it, we actually send via priority mail. I'm massively upside down on doing this, but I'm willing to invest in the relationship because I know of the value that we'll get out of it. I send them the copy of the article that they saw, just to remind them where they saw us because they'll forget, a USB flash drive that's preloaded here in the office with a couple videos of Dave speaking and going through our blueprint, our best content. I send them a nice folder inside that's got a bunch of color print copies, and basically it's like our press release kit inside in there. And then we also send them, I believe we send them a copy of a book. And so I'm massively investing in this relationship. And so in that same way, a lot of people just want to go and say, oh, hey, get me on stage. Oh, hey, I want to speak on your webinar. Where's the value exchange? Like, what have you done for me, right? It's just like a relationship. When you got married or when you were dating, like you didn't ask for it on the first date, although maybe you did because it's a numbers game for some of you. But you got to invest in the relationship. And so in that same way, how do you get meeting planners to say yes to you? One is you got to show up creatively and you have to show up consistently. So I like to show up right away differently. I don't just send a one-page speaker bio of who I am. If I want to get that gig or get in front of somebody, I send a big box of stuff that may include the one sheet, and then I send other pieces in the mail. I also follow up via phone call. So the biggest mistake I see going on is people only want to email. They only want to do it. Man, I am like, it's the throat thing. Dustin in his raw environment. So what I do is we don't just send email. We send email, we send direct mail, and we actually, yes, you heard it, we pick up the phone and call people. And so when you link stuff together and say, hey, I just sent you a package in an email, and then you follow up with a third phone call, eventually they're going to start to feel indebted to you. They're going to start to be like, wow, this person's really persistent. And so it's the persistency to get them to answer. And I know that's not maybe a magic bullet answer that you wanted to hear, but that's what it takes. I mean, that's honestly what it takes. The other option is you figure out where this meeting planner's hanging out. Like maybe they belong to an association and they go there and you go fly and meet them. I know it sounds a little stalkerish, but you go fly and meet them, you press the flesh, as they say, and you make that personal connection. Because I suspect you're so passionate about what you do. And when that other person really opens up and sees your passion, they're going to be more likely to book you. The hardest thing is getting that foot through the door, right? Last thing on this, and I know I'm going really deep on these answers. It's because I love to give and I love to share, and I know it'll benefit you. The other thing you can do that I don't think other people do, shoot a personal video. So when people invest with Speaking Empire at a certain level, I think Dave's doing this tomorrow or Friday. It's one of the days this week. We'll actually shoot a video right here, most likely. Dave will get on and say your name. So he'll say, hey, Maya, thank you for investing with us. It was great seeing you at the Speaking Empire live event. I just want to shoot this quick message to thank you, congratulate you, and let you know that we're here for you. So that's what we do when someone buys something. What I want you to do is send a video message there. So you record it, put it on YouTube, hidden, of course. You get a link, and then you can send that email to the person. Now, I don't suspect everyone's going to get that email. You also can do, totally drew a blank. You can also post it on their social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, if they use all that stuff, or LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn might be a great place for them to do that. Last strategy here. I know we're going deep. Manuel is giving me the evil eye here because we got a lot to get through. Last thing here, social media strategy. So I haven't personally used this, but I think it's a genius idea. So if you do have a following, Maya, if you do have a following, you have people that have seen you speak, you got an email list, you got social media fans. You figure out where your promoter is on Facebook or on LinkedIn, and you ask your fans to bombard their account and say, you gotta have Maya on your event, right? And so what that will do is, if someone gets 50 comments about Maya, and I hope I'm saying that right, if they get those comments about that, then if they get those comments, then they're going to be like, who is this girl? And I got to find out, right? And so it's a social media blitz. It's a great strategy if you have that influence to be able to do that. And that person obviously is on social media. So long answer, but I know that will benefit. So next one with the names. You knew this was going to be fun. Marjorie, I think that's how I say it. How can you know someone is your true husband? Oh man, I'm not a relationship coach, and that's a great question. So I'm going to give you an answer, although I don't know that I'm super qualified to answer that. How do you know if someone's your true husband?
How did you know Missy was your true wife?
Well, she rejected me a couple times, and I just had to, persistence. Remember I said show up big, right, and then keep being persistent. That was my strategy. And so the answer to that, I don't know that, again, I'm super qualified to that. I can only speak from my experience about this, but I promised an answer here. Basically, this is me just buying time to think through what I'm going to share with you, quite honestly. And it's, is that person willing to do things for you? Missy's beautiful. She's awesome about letting me have reign to do certain things. Obviously, I let her have that reign, vice versa. Like if she needs to go do something, if she wants to do it, I support her. If she wants to tackle a new venture, completely for it. And so I believe it's that willingness to be open. And I know some people are thinking, well, yeah, early in the relationship, everything's honky-dory, and then like maybe later it gets tricky and stuff like that. So, you just have to keep delivering value. I'm trying to relate it back to a marketing message, meaning I think about a relationship I have with a customer, right? You always have to be delivering that value. You always have to be selling, like, that line, always be selling. It's always be delivering value. Some people say always be selling. So you have to pretend like it's your first date every time. And some days you're going to be off, but you have to keep that in mind, that you always have to be willing to give to that other person. I think when you show up with that attitude, the rest will work itself out. And if you're in a tricky situation, one, I applaud you on your braveness or courage for asking the question. But two, just know that things will work out as they should. And I know when I was first getting started as an entrepreneur, this sort of like woo-woo sort of thinking of, oh, it'll all work out. No, I make it work out. I drive this business. I get on the phone and I sell. And so as I've gotten older, I've started to learn, yes, there's a warrior mentality, as Russ Whitney has shared with me. And then there's a statesman personality, which, is a wiser and doesn't always try to push through things. So again, that's my advice to you. It'll all work out how it should, and always be looking for that giving, and always be there for that person. Even if they're not going to be the one forever, you got to be there for that person. So that's my advice on that. All right, Stephen Carson asks, what are the top 5 practical things I can implement each day to transfer this urgent message from my heart to the stage in the shortest possible time? I live abroad and cannot attend any live courses in the USA. But you can, Stephen. So number 1 is mindset. So I know that you can, and it may be hard, but number 1 is you should definitely come to Speaking Empire event, self-plug there. Also 2, live stream. Even though we're not live streaming this event, we do make live streams available. So I would be getting access to information as much as possible. The other thing that I would say, number 1, is to always be thinking of these things. Have I done an activity that has furthered my business today? So at the end of every day, you ask yourself, have I done something? Because it's real easy to get caught up on, oh, well, I posted something on Twitter, or, oh, I just organized my desk. Well, has that gotten you closer to getting a stage? And, sometimes it's not easy. And I find myself at the end of the day saying, oh, crap, I've been doing a lot of stuff that doesn't really move the business forward. And so if you think about this, even if you're a CEO, you have to, 1, run the organization, and 2, you should always be promoting the business. It's everyone's job really to promote the business and help it and get more customers, because if it goes under, then everyone's out of a job. So that's a mindset thing. So what are the top 5 things I would do? Number 1 is I'd pick up the phone, right? No one does it, right? So I'd pick up the phone. I got a real quick story. One of our clients, Jason Palliser, who's in the real estate space, he told me he got a speaking gig on the Rich Dad stage. And of course I asked him, as a marketer, or is anyone curious, how did you get it? And I was expecting, oh, I did this crazy direct mail campaign, or, I sponsored an event. He's like, I just picked up the phone. I talked to the person, they passed me through, and I talked to the person that makes those decisions. And I'm like, it really was that easy? Now, of course, he had to have a conversation. He had to sell himself. But the fact that he picked up the phone, got through to the Rich Dad organization, which if you don't know that, it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, big company, seminar company, multi-millions, above tens of millions of dollars a year in the education space. And so he got through by being able to do that. Will you get through? Maybe not, right? But the fact is, pick up the phone. Number 2 is email the people. So email them, figure out a way to get a message to them to get your stages, to get your message out to the world. The other thing is figure out how to deliver value. So number 3 is delivering value for the person that can put you on the stage. So I always found there's 2 ways to do this. One is find somebody and influence them, build value, motivate them to put you in front of their audience, or create your own stage. So those are 2 different paths. This one's easier if you're first getting started because you don't have to invest a ton of money to do it. Whereas if you do your own event, sometimes that costs some money because you have to do the advertising and stuff. And so I would be figuring out, how do I build value? So back to John's question, back to a couple other questions. How do I deliver value for the person that can put me in front of that group? Number 4 is I would ask clients. So if you have clients already, I would ask clients to refer you to anything. A lot of entrepreneurs make this mistake. They're always about, how do I get the new customer? How do I get the lead gen? How do I get new? What about all the people that are in your world right now? Can you ask them for referrals? Can you ask them to give you a couple names of people that would be a good fit or stages that you can show up? That would be the other thing. And then the 5th thing that I would do, the last thing that I would do, is I would be getting testimonials. So collecting testimonials from other promoters where maybe you've done some free presentation, getting testimonials and putting those together into your speaker kit or into your arsenal so that when you do communicate, people know that you're legitimate. And so those would be the top 5 things that I would do living abroad and not here in the US. And then I would make it a point to come here to the US, to come to an event, set up some meetings around the event so you leverage the whole trip, and then go from there. So I hope that's been of help. And I think I've shared a lot of the strategies that you're looking for, Stephen, and some of the other questions. All right. So Manuela, I think we're going to need a battery charger. We're not plugged in on my machine, which is dangerous. So 1 second.
I'll get that.
All right. Wow, this is a real long one, and I haven't read these ahead of time. So this is a risky business, as they say. So this one comes from Spencer. Okay, I have a question. What is it about 70% of all requests for speakers revolve around leadership topics? Isn't there anything else to speak about? Yes, there definitely is a lot more to speak about in the speaking business, speaking genre. This is great. Nicole and Manuel are keeping me going, up and running here with nice hot iced tea, or hot tea. I guess it wouldn't be ice if it was hot tea. So John, so let me answer this. It's a longer Spencer, let me answer this, a longer question. So I found in the corporate space, leadership's a big thing, right? Leadership is kind of like, I was talking about this the other day, personal development in a certain, like, you can't use personal development in some corporate spaces because it's too like woo-woo, or I'm not broke. And some people like to judge it like that. So kind of like the sophisticated fancy word, again, this is my opinion, is leadership. And so if you think about what it takes to be a strong leader, it's someone that's disciplined, someone that has personally developed themselves, or at least, has a right mindset and attitude every day. So that's why I find it's basically a fancy word for personal development, which is a very universal topic. Even here at Speaking Empire, and this is a really important point, I want everyone to pay attention. There's tactics we show people how to do. So get rich in real estate, make money online, be a better speaker, lose 10 pounds. But if you think about it, those are just tactical. Really what has to shift in someone's mindset when you give them a new vehicle or a new set of things to do is the ability to believe in themselves, or it's the ability that, hey, I can do this. I can actually go out and make money in stock investing. I have that mindset. I know at first no one wants to hear that, which is why personal development, in my opinion, is very hard to sell. No one wants to say I'm broken or I need to fix my mind. Just give me the strategy. Give me the 5 steps to make money online. That's what I want to know. But that's the fallacy. So we lead with strategies, right? And oftentimes we have to personally develop. So we mix in, here's the how-to, and then we have to tell stories of people that were just broke, people that were afraid to speak like I was, and we have to flip it. And so we have to motivate, we have to personally develop people along the way. So the answer is yes. And as you can see behind me, there's real estate, there's internet marketing, there are people speaking, there are chiropractors speaking on neuropathy in Florida. We have a client that's doing this just south of us in Florida, and he's quietly making a killing doing this, building his practice. And there's many other people around the world that aren't gurus, that aren't on books and tapes, that are doing things that are making lots of money. So the answer is yes. There's other things to talk about. So your further question is this: whether it's high schools, college students, or corporate managers, everyone wants leadership speakers. Funny things, after 30 years of leadership courses and speeches, the country has no better leaders in business or Wall Street or in government. A resounding no. So I agree, but it's funny because a lot of people think, well, why would I create a course on this? It's already been created, right? Why do we need another get rich real estate course, right? There's tons of them behind me here, right? And the reason why is because people are going to resonate with your story. They're going to be motivated. Even if it's the same information, they're going to be motivated by you, and you might be the guy or the gal that actually gets it. And finally, the other thing too is that if you come in as a niche, so if you're the real estate guru for chiropractors, now, before, if you were just a real estate guru, I might not have listened to you, but you're a chiropractor just like I am, right? And you make money over here in real estate in your spare time. Now I'm interested, right? And so that's why you do see a lot of courses there. And so that's why I like to be niched as much as possible. Not everyone wants to be a leader. I completely agree with you. That's why there's Get Rich in Real Estate, or Get Rich Online, make money from home, right? There's a home business MLM opportunity. Can one really learn to be a good leader? I think not. This sounds like more of a question and a pontification here, if that's the word. Why are meeting planners so in love with leadership? How about more innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship? And so there is, Spencer, for sure. There are tons of other folks out there speaking about that. And kind of the real thing that I hear is give them what they want. So I know stuff like this makes me mad. Like, gosh, there's umpteen of this going on. Why don't they focus over here? Well, that's where, like, if you're trying to sell somebody and they don't want what you have, you can't sell them. You can't make them buy. So you got to meet them where they're at. And oftentimes that is, hey, let me show you how to do this. Let me show you how to improve your diet. And then what you give them are the strategies: cut out sugar, do all this, right? Go exercise. But really what they really need is that mindset, that personal development. Maybe it's the affirmations. Maybe it's just a coach telling them, hey, you can do this. I believe in you, right? But if you try to sell that first, they ain't buy it. It's really tough to sell. So Spencer, the lesson for you and for everyone here on this Hangout is that we have to give them what they want. So if the meeting planner wants leadership, give them leadership, but then have a niche, like, so leadership, and then whatever your thing is. So attach it, make the bridge from what they want to where they want to be. And a presentator, as Dave will tell you, will be able to speak on any topic and make a bridge to what they really want to speak about. So if you want to speak about entrepreneurship, if you want to speak about innovation, well, part of being a great leader is knowing how to innovate, right? So you can really quickly get off of what is requested over here. I don't really mean get off, but make that bridge into what you want to speak about. So this is a really good question and lecture in one. So I hope you guys are having fun and hanging with me. If you do have questions, go ahead. This is the Speaking Empire Open Office. We're live on air right now, unless you're watching the recording, which will be recorded in the future, and you'll have access to this. So next question, I believe this comes from Stephan Martinez. How does one reinvent oneself and shed the self-destructive habits, dysfunctional behavior, and patterns that cause one to have low bank balances, feelings of failure, feelings of not being able to chart a successful course in life, even though one has talents and gifts that lie dormant within? Wow. Stephen, can I just have this copy? Like, that was written like a copywriter would write. Like, I'm speaking directly to the person. So this is really good. And it really speaks about the specificity of your question. So the more specific you are, the more clear about your question, the better the answer can be. Even though I'm really good at giving answers and advice, it just makes my job a whole lot easier. So with that said, how does one reinvent oneself? I see that as two different things. So reinvention, there's a strategy. Madonna reinvented, Steve Jobs reinvented, a lot of people have reinvented themselves, reinvented their career, and it's actually one of the top topics that people are looking for. How do I leave corporate America, reinvent my life? How do I, after divorce, reinvent and get my swag back in the dating niche? Guys that have been married for quite some time, going back and trying to figure out how to enter that pool, reinvent themselves, right? in down in Australia, we have a client, Nick Saya, who I hope to see at Traffic and Conversion. Not sure if he's on. He has the Business Reinvention Roadshow. And so, which is, roadshow is like a tour here in the US that they use different words down under. And so the biggest thing about how does one reinvent oneself is you just stop doing, or not stop, but you just start proclaiming yourself. So in business, you just start calling yourself something different. No one's going to come around and dub you, hey, you've been reinvented, or you're now this person. You just have to do that. In terms of the personal development thing, it's about reading the right books and surrounding yourself with the right people. And so what I mean by that is, if you feel like you have gifts and talents, but you have behaviors, then there's seminars to go to, Landmark Forum, Tony Robbins. There's personal development seminars, which are great because you can read a book but not really do anything. You can get the concepts and ideas. But when you go to a seminar and you got a leader there that's, making you talk to people and you're sharing your things, and that can be a lot more powerful. So the thing is continually motivating yourself. And so you got to create a system. I would recommend a system, meaning that you always listen to audios on your way into the office or to work or wherever. You make it a point to get on at least one webinar. You make it a point to go to one seminar a quarter in personal development to make yourself better. And that's how you're going to do it. And the other thing I can say is find a success group on meetup.com. Find an accountability partner that will keep you accountable. And then 2, just put yourself in that environment. So part of motivation is sometimes you go to an event and you see people and you're like, wow, that's cool. I can do that. And then sometimes it's kind of like the other way. And it's like, gosh, that idiot can be successful. What the heck am I doing over here? And if that motivates you, that's fine. I mean, not that you should be slamming people, right? But if it's like, wow, if that guy can do it, then I should be doing too. So however you have to make that happen, make it happen. All right, so this question is from Diane. If you had to start from the beginning, knowing what you know now, and you only had a product, a physical product, and a couple $100 to buy a good book, which book would you buy and which topic? Speaking or marketing? So my answer is marketing. This was real easy. So I would buy marketing books for sure. Now Dave's answer would be speaking, because his answer is speaking. And it's funny because whoever the guru that you're sitting in front of, like the chiropractor, the answer to any ailment you have is what? And the chiropractor, you guys are going to kill me. But the answer is crack a back, right? For a copywriter, the answer is anything can be solved in the world with a finely crafted sales letter. For a speaker, one motivational speech or one speech to get someone to change your life, or, one speech is all it takes, right? So for me, it would be marketing, right? It would be a marketing idea or strategy, and then immediately get into action. So don't go into information overload and acquisition mode. If you only got that much money, you need to get into action. So get an idea, run with it, test it. If it doesn't work, go and do it again. Go get another idea, run with it, and test it. So here's an example. I bought a book from my mentor, Dan Kennedy. It's called The Ultimate Sales Letter. Got really excited after reading this book. And so I was working with Dave at Foreclosures Daily, and I said, wow, I got to act on one of these ideas. So I took and created a letter, single or double-sided, 8.5 by 11, created a letter and sent it out to all the customers that had bought something from us. And I said, hey, I gave them a special offer. I basically did what the book told me to do, and we got the phone to ring, and the salespeople started closing deals. And so I got into action immediately. Yeah, it wasn't beautiful. I probably had misspellings on it. It wasn't optimized, but I took an action and we got a result, and that propelled me forward. So real quick answer to that. This one's from Linda. If I don't have a product yet, or a list, or experience, or connections, or even a tribe, how can I get started speaking for money? Okay, this was a good one. Wow, this was like hands tied behind your back here. All right, so a lot of you you're probably just enjoying just seeing me sweat here and everything come out here. So and then that's part of this, right? You want to see, is he going to mess up? Is he going to fall off the high wire, right? That's a part of these hangouts that are fun. So Linda, here's what I would recommend is I would think affiliate marketer, right? Or super connector mindset. And what I mean by that is you don't have to have a product. You don't even have to have a service to sell. There's no shortage of people. I'm sure you know a ton of people out there that have products and services to sell. Hey, even Speaking Empire, we can be in that category, right? So if you can go out and deliver a presentation, if you get that speaking opportunity where that's not the issue, you can go out and deliver a speaking opportunity. What I would do is I would say, look, if you want to improve your area in this life, sit down with me for 30 minutes. I'm doing a strategy session. You can call it something else, but let's just call it strategy session for now. And I'll give you a roadmap. I'll give you a game plan, the 5 steps that you need. I'll map it out for you and show you exactly what you need to do. Well, you give them those 5 steps, and the 5 steps could be 5 other people's products where you have an affiliate arrangement to go out and start speaking for money. That's how I would do it. Now, I know people from the other world, the speaker get paid to show up world, they might cringe at that, but I've always been in the world where no one ever wanted to pay me to show up before I got there. And so I always had to show up for free, deliver massive value to the audience, and then say, look, for those of you that want to come on the ride, the journey with me, and invest in this product or service and take your life to the next level, then do that. And I think that for me has been a much easier path. And so that's how I would do it if I don't have a product, list, or experience. So the one thing here I probably didn't answer, which some people are slick about, just not answering certain parts of the question, but I want to make sure we deliver value here. If you don't have connections, you got to go and make that connection. And so a lot of people are in love with this idea, especially in internet marketing, that I can make money from home. And yeah, there probably are strategies for you to make money at home if you're really technical and understand how Google and Facebook and all that stuff really works to that level, but I find most people aren't. And so it really, no matter what business you're in, my belief is it's a people business. So even if you are an internet marketer, all of them get together at secret events and they all promote each other, right? And so they're not known for being, a lot of them social, that sort of thing, but it's still a people business where they find other partners and people to promote. Even me, when we go buy solo ads, people that let us blast their list for X amount of dollars, I got to communicate with that person. I got to talk to them. So it's a people business. So I would say that first, go out and start building the relationships. Okay. So Stephen Roll has question number 1 for me of a 2-part question. Do we have more questions as well that have come through? Okay. All right. So we got to cook. So for 2016 and early 2016, from your own students, members, and clients, very good. What are you hearing to be the biggest challenges for speakers and your recommendations to overcome them and when? For paid professional keynote speakers, for selling from the stage at live events. So number 1, the hardest thing is getting on the stage. And I burped there, and so maybe I'm thinking about that. Usually when you burp or something happens, you think about, is that the hardest challenge? So it might not be the hardest challenge, but it's definitely in the top 5. And so how do I get on the stage? How do I find places to speak at? And so the biggest challenge that they have is, how do you get on that stage? And so that comes from relationships, and also to investing to make that happen. So a lot of people say, I don't have money to make something happen. Well, you have a really tough road. You're gonna have to be really creative. You're gonna have to get on the phone. You're gonna have to pester people, right? Because the other way is you get on a plane, you fly to where that person is, you take them out to dinner, you build a relationship. And I know people don't want to hear that. They want the push button answer. And you may get those opportunities. It's just not how I've done. I've always had to hustle. I've always had to work to make that happen. And so for paid professional keynote speakers specifically, you asked me that question, what is their hardest challenge? Well, it's getting people to pay them. And so my answer is getting not people to pay them, getting people to book them for the gig so that they can get paid. So my answer to that is, a lot of speakers, which is why I'm in existence here. Dave's a classic example of this. My partner Dave, who does most of the speaking, they're great speakers, they're great communicators, they're great showy personalities. Michelle Villalobos, one of our clients, and been sharing a lot of great ideas with me. She has this personality profile, and she's called herself a rock star or superstar. And so she's a showy person. She's a performer, and performers are great on the stage or in front of people one-to-one, but the details they're not as good at, and they know that. And so they've surrounded themselves with people that have details and follow through if they're smart. And so I would say that most professional keynote speakers don't have a follow-up system in place to cultivate the lead, to close the deal, or aren't surrounded by a salesperson, a driver, or a marketer. Now, speaking from selling at live events, I'm hearing a lot of stuff right now, which was really interesting, where, hey, I've got the speaking opportunity, but I can't sell. And it's nothing new. It's just, I think, the consciousness of shift. The pitch fests have been done, and so you've got to do something completely different. If you agree with that, I know we have been horrible on the communication. Just type in the chat box here. Let me know if you agree with that there are speaking opportunities there, but it's getting harder to really sell directly from the stage. And so number 1 is do webinars, so you control the environment. And then number 2 is, one of the things that's very a very good strategy right now for us at Speaking Empire is the strategy session close. So you give a great value, give a great presentation, and say, look, if you want to work with me, let's sit down, let's talk. I'll take you through this process, and at the end of it, you're going to get value. And if you don't work with me, that's great. If not, I'll tell you how we can work together, right? And that's really short. I mean, there's a more eloquent way to say that, But that is the way. I just talked to Paul Feldman about that. I mean, he's going to be at Insurance Newsnet, and so he's going to be in a room of 15, high-level people. They're going to make 5- and 6-figure decisions about advertising with him. That's not going to happen. Like, get up and run to the back of the room. And so the strategy session close is critical. It's more diagnostic. It builds more value. And so for selling speakers from the stage, I would say deliver more value that way. Prolong the sales cycle. That's the biggest thing. That's the big answer to the question that you asked, which is a great one. Is everyone so quick to go for the sale? We now have to build more value than ever before, which also increase our costs to acquire a customer. But once we do that, we can actually sell at a higher price. So it's forcing us to be better. So I hope that is good. All right, question number 2. What strategy is working best to get qualified prospects to invest in your live programs? Which marketing channel is working best for you? So number 1, Stephen, I like your question. Number 2 is a lesson is this. Okay. Number 2 is this. Got some questions coming in, trying to jangle all of this. And I know that Dave is watching now, so thank you for that, Dave. So Dave's lurking, so he's listening into the questions too, for those of you that find comfort in that. And so one of the things that I talk about at the Speaking and Marketing Academy that's coming at our live events is I talk about marketing specifically. Dave is all about the influence. Dave is about the speaking. How do you get people into action once you have them in front of them? But really what I talk about at Speaking Marketing Academy is how do you drive people? How do you build that audience? And so, Stephen, you asked me, and a lot of people ask me, what is the best thing? And I'll tell you this, it's what everyone wishes there was. There's no magic bullet, right? There are a bunch of little bullets that when you combine them together, create a magical effect. And so there is no best channel that is getting people to register for my live events other than referrals. So I'm giving you my disclaimer, and the best for sure by far is referrals. So if you can get your client base to recommend people, and you really have to focus on that and build value, we have a whole process at that, which is another reason why you should come to the Speaking and Marketing Academy. Because 1, you're going to learn great content, but also 2, you get to see our processes that we talk about. So at this last event, I've used LinkedIn, or this event coming up, Speaking Marketing Academy, I've used Facebook ads. We're using YouTube retargeting. So when the video loads, like there's our commercial that comes up, we're doing a live, and this will be a recorded, and I did direct mail. So I did them all. And so I can tell you, because you're looking for the magic bullet answer, is if you'll pick up the phone or have someone pick up the phone for you, getting on the phone with people and reaching out to them, making them apply has been a very effective strategy. But in terms of what channel, no magic answer, use them all to do it. And so that's my answer to you, because I got to get through a bunch more. All right, now, Tim, what advice do you have for someone just getting started while working 60 hours in my job? Tim, quit your job. I'm just kidding. Although for some people that, burn the bridges and then you do it. For some people that works, and for other people it really freaks them out. So completely understand that. What I would be doing is building relationships. So Tim, as much as you can from afar, build relationships, subscribe to things, buy people's products and services. I'm happy if you buy Speaking Empires. Dave is really happy when you buy Speaking Empire, invest in Speaking Empire products, and start building relationships there. And so we have a client, I won't say his name, but he did ask a question. So for those of you that would know that, but you probably don't. For those of you that would know that, what he's doing is he's got a full job, but he'll go away on the weekend, he'll take vacations, he'll do whatever it takes to make something happen. And so when I hear things like, oh, I can't come to your event, or when I hear things like, I can't do this, can't is usually the word that I zero in on. And it's because people have a box. And I get, maybe you are in Mozambique and you got to take 18 planes to get here to come to an event. However, if you want to change your life, if you're really passionate, if you're really driven, you will do those certain things. Dave, if he were answering that question, he probably would tell you just to quit your job right now and burn the bridge. He's more direct that way. I get wanting to make some money over here, build your assets here. And so yesterday we were working with the client, Riley, a high-end client, titanium client, not a lot of people that we work with at this level. This is a big deal for us. We're working with him to basically reinvent himself in a new business. So he's got a very healthy seminar business right here, and now he wants to create a new one over here. And so he's sort of in the same position that you are, even though he owns and runs this business, he's got a job essentially. And so what I'm telling him is take all the assets, everything that you're learning over here, start recording interviews, start building relationships, start documenting everything, anything that you can use, and move it over here. So if you're in corporate America and you know how to run great meetings, make a checklist, put it over here. Put your bank, because it's always helpful if you've got a bank, and do it. The other thing I would say is write an irresistible offer, right? So start taking the steps as if you were on your own business. Start doing it because you're going to start ingraining it into yourself. Okay. This is Roya Shamshay. I hope I'm saying that right. Do you know of any online video courses or step-by-step video guides taught by successful entrepreneurs about how to start and scale a very lucrative money-making online business? Please reply to this question by email so I can have the exact information you have. Well, Roya, if I'm saying that right, you didn't read that I was going to answer these live. So hopefully you watch this video and see this. So some of my favorite online courses are Speaking Empire courses, right? Dave would kill me if I didn't say Speaking Empire first, right? So check our programs online, SpeakingEmpire.com for sure. And then my good buddy who I was just on the phone with one of his traffic guys earlier today, my good buddy Russell Brunson. We've done events together. I've written presentations for Russell Brunson. If you know him, we're like brothers and wrestle each other because he likes to wrestle, but I don't, and so he always wins. And so Russell Brunson is a very great source to check out online. Be sure to click on our affiliate link. Just kidding. But if you get a chance to talk to Russell, let him know. Speaking Empire sends his love. Okay, Bob asked, thanks for your guidance in advance. For the past few years, I've wanted to be an affiliate for products I like and would love to sell online. I admit that I've only achieved limited success. Since I've joined the, I'm going to not say the name just to, keep it nice. Since I've joined this particular program, I've been able to build a list of 60 people on autopilot in 2 months. Okay, that's good. So I can further market, and maybe we should have you read these questions, the very long ones, and have you highlight them. So let me see here. I'm making some progress. I'm sparing some people. What's that? Oh, good idea. Okay. No dead air. This one is, I think, the last one. No dead air is what Dave would tell you. So always keep going, always keep entertaining. So presenting. I gave some Facebook ads. I always wanted to make 100, but I'm only near the $12 per month level. What do I need to achieve success? Okay, so the gist of the question is this. So he's got a list of names. Bob does. He's been generating. He's got a list of names, which is great, right? So then what I would do is get on the phone with those people, ask them for their names, right? So once you have a list, an audience, multiply it. And what I mean by that is get on the phone. Now you may say, well, Dustin, all I got is email. Great. Well, personally email them. God forbid you actually personally email some people on your list or pick up the phone and talk to people on your list, right? I know my internet marketing friends, they're not used to that sort of thing. Dave and I, we come from the live event world where we meet people and they come to an event over and over and over again. And so you got to be good and you got to be on. And so what I would say is I would get on the phone with them, ask them what their biggest challenges are. Remember, it all goes back to building value. How can I deliver value? What can I do to serve you? When you come with that mindset, what can I do to be of service? Things can really start to change. Things can really start to change, transform in your world. So ask that person, what are your biggest challenges? And when you've got them in conversation, if you've got them on the phone, or maybe you're doing it through email or get on Skype, say, do you know anyone else that would benefit from me working? So you ask them, how can I build value for you? They're going to give you all the challenges they're working on. Then your job is to create a program around them. So, hey, if I could put together a program that would help you solve this, this, and this, would you be willing to make an investment today of whatever? Yes, no, get the answer, right? Get something. No, okay, great. Do you know anyone else that would really benefit? Part of this business is really knowing people. So do you know anyone else that would benefit from what you've learned or what the value I've delivered from you? Oh, you do? Okay, great. Can I have their information? Okay, great. So that's what I would be doing to go to the next level. The other thing too is it's the law of numbers. So Bob, in your list, you generated 60 names. Pareto's principle will tell you 80-20, the 80-20 rule. So 20% of those are going to go with you to some next level, right? And the fact is, if you offer a next level, they're going to go with you. Now, Dave always says that there's 20% of the 20%, the 4% club. So 4% of those people will go to an even bigger, your greatest, your even greatest level. Meaning, if you don't offer 100,000, a 50,000 program, you're leaving money on the table. And so, excuse me, when Dave and I first got started, thank you, I'm alive. If you see me keel over, then you know that's not a good thing. So maybe we should keep these to an hour in the future because we know that my voice and off days will go off. But we'll keep going because the show must go on and deliver value. And I got more questions for you. So answers for you. So there's the 4% club. And so if you don't offer a package at that high level, even if you think it's crazy, then you'll never get someone to take it, right? And I'm not saying just go out and blindly create things out of thin air and not deliver value for people. What I'm saying is the ability to, you may think you're in this business, but if you'll just work with the top 4% of your customers, you'll find that you're actually in this business. And so at Speaking Empire, we have a $100,000 program. Now, some of you listening in on this, you may say, whoa, 100K. Now, some of you listening in say, oh, they have a 100K. I never heard of this. And usually I don't even share this publicly. This is only extended as an invitation because it's not for everybody, right? And I'm not saying that to beat our chest and try to get people into the program, because we actually try to sell people away from joining the program because we're looking for the right person. And so the fact is, it's really a 1% of Speaking Empire's client base gets offered this program and gets accepted into this program. And so if you don't offer a higher level program, then you're missing out. And so to get to that $100 a month, don't think of it as $100 a month, but can you put together a $1,000 program, which I've just done basically $100 a month in one shot. And so that's the other big thing too, is by being more diagnostic, delivering more value, offering done for you, you can offer higher end programs and services. Okay. Okay, that was Bob. All right, Teresa, best way to engage an audience for a 10-minute speaking presentation. I don't know what that means. Manuel, do you know? Okay. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say you need to check out Dave's information on presentating. And for those of you that don't know this concept, presentating is being a presenter, but being entertainer. So in our society, who are the most highly paid people in the world? Entertainers, athletes, celebrities, that sort of thing in the Hollywood business, right? And so a lot of people want to teach when they speak. Teach. Well, what do teachers get paid? I know it's not fair. It's not fair, but it is what it is. And so Dave recommends we be a presentainer. And so best way to engage an audience for a 10-minute speaking presentation without all the details, what I would say, trial closes. So one of Dave's favorite strategies is asking questions throughout your presentation. So if you've noticed, I haven't been doing the best job on the chat, but I've been asking questions of you. I've been checking in with the audience. I'm looking right at you, asking you to respond, turn to a neighbor. I didn't ask you to do that because you might not have a neighbor next to you. Type in the chat box. So the best way to do engagement is to make them, is to ask them questions throughout. Even if they don't answer the question, you can ask them that. All right, so let's take 1 second. Take a break. I just need to get a sip of water here. If you need to answer or submit your questions, go ahead and do so over here. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Pretty soon we'll have to turn on the robotic voice on the computer and I'll just type the answers and it will be like a computer speaking to everyone. All right, Teresa, so I hope that helps. Trial closes. Dave teaches, I think it's like over 10 different strategies. I think it's 11 presentator principles where he talks about how do you engage, how do you get them into action? Because at the end of the day, we want them to take an action, we want to train them. So be sure we've got materials online, check out the presentator kit, and that will give you advice on how to presentate. I give you a more long-winded answer, but Manuela tells me we're really short on time, so she's the bad girl, not me. All right, so Dr. Stephan, I have a passion for speaking and do it well. Good, congrats. What I don't have is visibility. No one knows who I am. What can I do to earn my first speaking engagement? I'd love to create a viable stream of income for speaking, but have no clue how to get that first paying client. So Dr. Stephan, have you created a list of promoters of where you could show up? Meaning, like, I know you could show up anywhere. Anyone can show up anywhere, but where are your most ideal speakers? Where are your most ideal stages? Noel's taking a picture of me, and you guys might not see this, but my nose is. So, all right, just being real. Just being real. All right, so have you made your Chet Holmes top 100 list? So where do you want to go speak? And go big. Say you want to speak on Tony Robbins' stage. Say you want to speak in Speaking Empire stage. And then go everywhere down to the meetup in your own backyard, right? And then once you have a list, then the question is, what's your strategy to communicate to the key person of influence? That's a title of something. What's your strategy to communicate and get on that stage to build value for that person? So the big thing, you have no visibility. So I understand that. You could go create a book. You don't need a book. In fact, when Dave started Foreclosures Daily, $14 million in sales, selling real estate information, Dave didn't have a book for the longest time. Now we have books. So if you have it, it's great, but don't use it as an excuse. And so what I would do is I would go and create a list, and then I would figure out how can I build that relationship. Again, this is the same answer to a question earlier, just going to say it a different way because maybe it'll hit you a different way. And so create that list and either go fly to see them, go get lunch, show up in their office. We had a client, Zach Childress. He flew all the way, he lived in Alabama, Podunk, Alabama, he would tell you. Flew all the way up to Boston, the big city, where there was another one of our clients, David Lindahl. And so he camped out in front of the guy's office, and the secretary, good gatekeeper, she said, nope, not seeing him, not seeing him. Zach waited there all day until like David left the office. Boom, got him, started talking to him. They've done business together, right? Now, that's a crazy extreme thing, and some guys are crazy and extreme like Zach is, love you. And so I would say the same thing is create your list. But if you don't know who you're targeting, you don't know. Just like I created my newsletter list, create your list of where do you want to show up and go for a strategy. Revisit this call, the recordings, because I've already shared a lot of it. But start with the list. Everyone, start with your list. Who are your promoters? Who are your JV partners? Where do you want to be in the world and show up? Create that list. Promise me you'll create that list. If you promise me, you'll go ahead in the chat box, wherever it is in this Google Hangout, and you'll type in, I promise. That's an example of being engaging. All right, Sean, glad you were doing this because we are now about to start our live webinar series. We were wondering when recording it in conjunction with a slideshow presentation, what is the best way to record yourself with one of the laptop cams or using an actual camera like one of our Canons? So we're doing this very raw, to be quite honest. We have all the fancy Nancy equipment. I got my MacBook Air. It's not even a Pro MacBook. This is a Pro back here, which is just making this look pretty, which is funny. But I'm just doing this off the air. Now, I'm not saying this is the best strategy. You really ought to treat this like TV if you can and have a 3-camera shoot because we're used to watching different angles and people get bored if they just see a talking head unless I move around a lot. So the honesty is look at TV for your ideas. You can have a PowerPoint and edit it back in. All that stuff gets advanced and tricky. And so the important thing is get the word out, get the communication. People want to engage. So you don't have to necessarily worry. And by the way, Sean, I want to give you props. Sean's a client through Rick Richter, who's in the mastermind. So if you guys don't know about the mastermind program, be sure to check that out on Speaking Empire. And these guys are just rocking. They're getting their thing online. So I like to use GoToWebinar if we're doing a live webinar and we record it. If you do a Google Hangout, it already is built-in record. If you're inserting the slideshow into it, you can record video of you, and then you can record slides, and then you can edit them together. Vera can do that, an AV guy can do it, or you can do it live, which is advanced and tricky, meaning that I can be doing this live, and Manuela can have like a DJ little booth, a mixing board over there, if you think of it like that, and she could be putting into my presentation like that. That's super advanced, that's super tricky, and that's best left up to Mike Koenigs, who's like, amazing at that with his digital cafe studio. He's also a client of ours, if you didn't know that, as well, and spoken at some of our events. So that's Adam. All right, Mr. John Adams, who, by the way, I've met in Atlanta when I was running around for Dave at Foreclosures Daily. So it's great to see you. I've actually been to your events. John was just on the Marketers Cruise with Dave. I believe he's one of our clients or invested in a product. So John says this: many of the most successful real estate investors in the world have described Atlanta's John Adams as a marketing genius. Hey, wait a minute, is this a plug? But I'll keep going. And by others as one of the most remarkable men of our time. We all know that his powerful strategies have created fortunes for many of his students, but yet John remains humble and maintains the attitude of service to others. He has never been bankrupt, never been arrested. He's been married to the same beautiful girl for 39 years. Did his wife write this up? I did John. Dustin, how in the world does John Adams do it? Oh, I love it. Thank you. I know we all look forward to your comprehensive answer. Very crafty, Mr. John Adams, which is why I love you. I like you. John, very good. I like how you've worded this. This is very, very powerful. And so a lot of people, and the thing that I've learned from you, John, is longevity. So Dave and I see a lot of people come into this business that are shooting stars and then they're out. In fact, we've coached some of them, and very early on in our career, we were excited just to get a client. But after a while, we started seeing what some of these disreputable people were doing in the industry. And so now it's part of our process where we don't work with everybody. I don't know if you know that. Yes, you can buy a box online. You can buy our programs online that are kick butt, by the way. However, to work in our higher level programs, our boot camps, and even our workshops, there's application process. And so we actually turn people away. I'm saying that straight face, we turn people away. And the reasons why is because there are some disruptive people that come through and their heart's not in the right place. And so John's question, although craftily disguised as a plug here, which I love as a marketer, speaks about his longevity. He's been doing it. He's coming from a place of service. And I wish, and that's our mission, is to empower leaders like John and communities like his, because when we do, we empower the whole world. And so I wish more people had an attitude like John. So John, very good stuff here. I can't call you humble now after that question. So next question's from Gabby. Thank you, Manuela. How do you sell a job, a position, a company to potential candidates? That's so funny that you asked this one. That was Gabby. So a lot of people, I just did this, right? And so Debbie typically hands this in our organization. She's our CFO here, /OO. She's the glue, we call her at Speaking Empire. And so she's our secret sauce. And really the only chance to meet Debbie is here in the office, or actually you can actually meet her at one of our live events, Speaking Marketing Academy. So if you haven't heard about it, check it out, by the way. So I got involved in this and started thinking like this is a marketing deal, meaning like everything when I went to go research how people are posting jobs, I'm sure you've seen it, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is horrible. Like big companies, right? So I thought of it like a copywriter would think of it. How do I sell someone on applying, but also filter? So I don't want to sell, I do want to sell them on how awesome we are as a team and how you can come work with us. However, I want to filter them and say, look, if you're not willing to do this, if you don't believe in changing the world, if you're not this, this, and this, we don't want you. Then here's the other thing I did too. I actually made them email me. So every job site, and I'm going off a little bit on this because I just did this, every job site has, here, click this button, upload your resume, whatever. I said, what I want you to do is send an email to join us or join the team at Speaking Empire. And don't blow that up, by the way. So I said, send an email there. I want you to tell me the 3 names of the partners at Speaking Empire and a 1-page on why we should work with you. Who can tell me why I did that? Now, of course, you can't answer that, and there's a little bit of delay, so I'm going to answer it. But it is an engagement strategy. You got to ask questions, keep people engaged. So what I did that was I need someone that can follow directions. I need someone that's going to pay attention to detail, especially for this position. Maybe a salesperson, I might not do that as much because salespeople, they're a breed their own. However, this is like operations person, project manager, somebody that's really going to, fill in the gaps. I need attention to detail. And so, of course, people started applying, we started getting resumes. But the number of people that actually stopped and read the direction was even fewer. And so I made them go do research, read about us, do an action. And then also too, I made them write 1-page why, because anyone has their stock resume, but no one will take the time, very few, I should say, qualified people will take the time to write why it's good for me. And then also too, when people have to write, you can kind of get a little more insight into who they are as a person. And so a resume, everyone knows how to do resume, get the book and all that, but when you actually have to write complete sentences and think through something and sort of sell me in the process, that's good. That's somebody I want on the team. So that's how I sell it. I actually dequalify, or is that the word? Not qualify, remove, I guess is the word. And then we make them jump through hoops. So I hope that was helpful and beneficial, especially if you're using like those monster.com sites, where you get 100 resumes, like in a second. It's very important to weed out. So Paul, who is the best public speaker in the world today? Oh, quite honestly, that's Mr. Dave Van Hoos. Now, Dave will tell you there's a difference between public speaking and speaking to sell. So they say, number one, in the world, the hardest thing to do is to get up in front of people. Would rather die. I'm sure you've heard the stat, glossophobia, that's the name of it. People would rather fear public speaking. They'd rather die than get up in front of people. Now, Dave says, yeah, that's a pretty big hurdle, but getting up in front of people is easy. Now, the next phase is when you start to ask for money, or you're asking for a sale. That, my friend, is the hardest thing. And Dave, by far, is the best in the world when it comes to asking people for money, or not even asking for money, but getting people into action. So you may be raising money for a charity, you may be selling a product or service, or heck, maybe you're doing a strategy session. You're not asking for money yet, but to get people to take that step, Dave, by far, best in the world, which is why I'm here, which is why everyone here at Speaking Empire is, they love what we're about, and we use our powers for good and not evil. And so we want to empower you to do that as well. So it almost seems like a Planet question. Was that really Dave and he just put someone else's name there? Okay, Anthony Farrar, what's the proper strategy or technique for incorporating a client panel at your event? Are there specific questions you should ask them? Wow, this sounds like a Dave question too. Anthony, great question. So a lot of people don't know this. When you do a 3-day boot camp, they think like just Riley the other day, he's like, oh my gosh, 3 days. How can I speak 3 days on this? And it's so funny because a lot of times you want to speak and you want to speak and you want to give content. And people after a while, even you guys, I know, after a while you're like, well, there's a lot of content, a lot of questions, you know, like this is good. Instead, they would rather hear from your clients. They would rather go talk to this person over here that achieved success, because they know if they come talk to Dave or Dustin, oh, they're going to take my wallet, right? They're going to sell me something, right? And so the client panel, by far, if you're doing a boot camp or even a one-day environment, have a client panel, because they'll have it. And so are there questions that you should ask? Heck yeah, there are questions. What results have you gotten? How has life changed? We have a question. We have a process. Dave's genius at that he leads our panels. And so we've got questions. They're in his head. Quite honestly, I think we've got them written down somewhere. But there's questions. I'll give you just results, which is another reason why you should come, again, to Speaking Empire Marketing Academy. As you can tell, this is great value for you guys, but a plug for the event that's coming up. SpeakingMarketingAcademy.com, or you can call the office, 800-687, you'll type that in, 4061. So yes, what results have you gotten? How has your life changed? People love to see transformation. So what was life before? Now, after you've learned these strategies, you've generated money or you've lost the weight, what is life like now? Think of infomercial, right? I was broke. Now I've got, you know, people attracted to me, all that sort of stuff. And then if you were in the audience's shoes, what would you recommend that they do? Now, if they're good clients and they've gotten success, oftentimes most of them will say, well, you need to join Speaking Empire, or you need to work with David, or you need to work with the team, right? And so there are more questions than that, but those are the gist. Results, life transformation, and what would you advise the people sitting out in the audience to do? Good question. Gene, what are the habits and rituals you go through during 30 minutes before going on stage? So Dave has a routine. He used to, I'm not sure if he still does it. He used to put on like dance music because there's a cadence, there's a speaking. You know, when you speak a song, da da da. When you speak, it's da da da. You know, it's hypnotic. And so he would listen to music to get into that rhythm. Me, what I personally do, I jump around, and then I know what I'm going to speak about, but the opening monologue, that's something that always runs through my head last minute. And it should be more scripted, but I like to be relevant to what's going on in the world and what is happening in lifetime. So that is the one element. And what I manifest for myself is I manifest the first 5 minutes of what I'm going to talk about at our live event, by the way. So this is a 3-day environment where it's not a 90-minute sales presentation and I'm unscripted for the first 5 minutes. I've got them there all day. So all 3 days. So I have a little more flexibility. So I jump around, I listen to music, I go in the room. I have Dave spray the oils. If you guys know about the oils, the energy stuff. I know for some of you that's going to be a little weird, but you know, I use that to clear anything that's going around. And I think about service. That's the last thing, because you sometimes feel that excitement that courses through your body. Some people call that nervousness, by the way. Got to reframe that. I think about, it's not about me, it's about them. How can I serve them? How can I do it? And when you do that, you go from service, you get into service, as Dave would say, it dramatically changes. You know, it removes any other stuff that's going on. So that's the ritual. What is the best way to transition into the close? And these are all like Dave questions. So it's a good thing I know what Dave teaches here. Best way to transition to close. How do you tee up your call to action? Best way, easiest way, I should say. A lot of people struggle. You ever been to an event, you got your buddy on the line and then they're going in front of you, and then they go into close and they're like, they either drop the hammer on you and they start like doing this, or, you know, pushing you, you know, you just feel this like push energy. I'm sure you've seen that. So the easiest way is to have testimonials or case studies, which I prefer case studies, which is a more advanced testimonial, go in depth, tell the story, tell the results that were generated, and simply ask the question, how many of you would like to have the same results just like this? How many of you are interested to see the system that has transformed so many lives and so many others? So you ask a question. So the easiest and often best way is to ask a question of of asking permission to sell to go into your close, right? So that by far is the easiest. I know there's more to that, but that's the easiest. Testimonials, case studies, and how many of you would like to see the same system that has changed these lives? Would that be okay with you? Great. Ron, if I don't have any material that I haven't created myself or any other people's books and materials on topics, how can I make money? Well, you can make money as an affiliate. So there are people that come to our live events, our speaking marketing academies, looking for speakers. So you might not have a product or service. You might not have anything to sell, or may even be an expert, but you can be a hired gun. So if you know how to sell, if you know the presentation process that Dave teaches at our live events and in our products, you can actually be what they call a hired gun. And in that process, you can find out, what do you want to do? So there are people in the world right now that work for big 9-figure seminar businesses that are called hired guns. They go out and they speak and they sell other people's products and services. You can do that. And if you want more, come to our live events, because there's always people recruiting from different companies and people that don't want to be the speaker or travel, and they're looking for people to speak for them. All right, Kevin, what is the most important thing your stellar students bring to the table, and what is it the one thing that others do that undermines their success? So I think the number one thing our students bring to the table is their openness and mindset. We attract who we want to attract, like by putting out the message. So we're attracting service-based folks. And so when people come to our live events, this camaraderie, this family-like atmosphere happens, you feel it, and people want a joint venture. And so I believe the joint venture and their openness and willingness to share is really, really huge. And so that by far is the biggest thing that they offer, is that people come back even after they've done, like Dave Seymour from Flipping Boston, 9-figure guy, has access to a 9-figure business, and he is coming back and sharing his knowledge and insight, building back into community. What undermines their success, I think I heard it the other day, is follow through and follow up. So you meet people, you don't follow through, you don't do that action, you go back home, you get trapped in the business. I think that undermines a lot of people's success, even my own. I mean, I got a massive to-do list, and so the things that could really transform things, sometimes they get buried, fires happen, and so I think that's the big thing.
Okay.
All right, a live question. So those are all the printed questions. So now we have a live question. What do you got? Why don't you read it, and then I'll just answer it.
So Julie Boswell asks, what will we learn at the event at the end of February? I'm pumped to be going and excited about networking, but wondering what we'll learn from the Speaking Empire crew while we're there. What do you have planned?
It's beautiful. Thank you, Julia. So hopefully you heard that question. She basically asked, Julia and I, we go way back from copywriting days. So super excited to have you at the event. It sounds like a plant question, but I believe it's a real legitimate. I did not write this question.
It was a real question.
It could have been Dave, but I can't vouch for that. So I'm going to take it at face value, because some people have been asking about the event. So at the Speaking and Marketing Academy, what we do is we go through and we teach you the whole speaking info coaching business. We start off day one where you learn and understand the whole business. Now, right after that foundation gets set, magic starts to happen. And here's what I mean by that. The next session, which I think is the best session by far, Dave might say otherwise, is we create an irresistible offer. So I actually take someone live from the audience that does not have a product or service preferably, and I'll create their offer out of thin air, and I'll actually sell it back to the audience and get people to buy. Isn't that amazing or what? So the magic of demonstration. Then after that, what we do is we mastermind. So we do joint venture and networking at the event. And then we roll into day two, which is all about how do you package your message into a system, into a formula that gets people to buy. And so maybe you're raising money, maybe you're selling a product service, maybe you're doing strategy sessions, heck, maybe you're just trying to build a list or whatever. There is a strategy, there is a method. And that by far, other than my talk on the irresistible offers, day two, which is Saturday typically, Dave will be going over that blueprint. People love it. People have seen Dave speak multiple times and come back just for that, because he's a true presentator. They always get different value. They also get different levels. And at the end of the day, if you can't get your people into action, your audience, your prospects, even your clients, if you can't give them the action, you don't have a business. I mean, you will run out of money even if you get money from family or self-funded. So
incoming message from Dave.
Uh-oh.
Dave said he'll give away 3 tickets to the first callers.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to interpret this message. So Dave is in a giving mood, by the way, I guess. And so it's not really a forum. I don't think people can call in, but they can call the office. And so I'm going to take it at that. So Mr. Dave, here's what we're going to do. For those of you that would like to come to the event, if you'll call right now, 800, and Manuel, you can type this, 800-687-4061. And Nicole's running because the phones are probably going to blow up. 800-687-4061. I believe Dave is gifting 3 general admission tickets for the first 3 people to call for this event that would like to get in. Now, we sell these things for up to $1,000, depending on which level that you come in to our event. We have VIP, we have different levels that people can partake in the event. And so if you'll call, we'll call this the Dave Van Hoos special or gift. If you'll call to get those tickets, we'll make those available. First 3 only. That's our gift to you, our scholarship to you. Dave, I love it. Even when you're not speaking, you're speaking. I love it.
Okay. Cynthia wants to know, which tools would you recommend when you're not quite ready for Infusionsoft?
Excel. So Cynthia, thank you for your question. You got to acknowledge, always thank and acknowledge people. Phones are ringing. So which questions, so what tools would I recommend? Well, you need a merchant account because you got to process money. So if you're not set up to do that, you got to have that unless you collect checks or something. So you need that. And then also too, I would recommend email. So you should always be building a list. So you can use iContact or Constant Contact or other things, Aweber. So those are tools. So I would do that and I would be able to process. So give me the ability to build a list. And there's tons of software for that. Give me the ability to process money. I'm good to go. And I also like ClickFunnels. That's a plug for Russell Brunson. So you can build your whole funnel into it. If you go to SpeakingEmpire.com/ClickFunnels, you'll be able to plug that in.
How are you?
Oh. I need some questions.
Oh, sorry. How do you know / decide what your first talk should be, not to miss perhaps the opportunity, first impressions, etc.?
Wait, ask that again.
How do you know / decide what your first talk should be, not to miss perhaps the opportunity, first impressions, etc.? That's from Bryce Thomas.
Bryce asks, okay, so how do you know what your first talk should be? Well, the real answer, were those your friends? Oh. Okay. Oh, some people just popped into the office. Okay. So your first talk should be around whatever the promoter wants you to talk about, number one, if that is kind of the constraint that we're looking at here, meaning like if you can't get on a stage and need to get on a stage, what does the promoter want you to talk about? Because a great presenter understands, you give them what they want, and then if you have something else to offer, you just bridge the gap between those. So the other thing is tell your story. So what stories can you tell, again, that bridge the gap to what the audience wants? So people want success, to hear about success. They want to hear the transformation, and you got to tie it back to your program. So a great presenter has stories, has a product at the end or something to offer, and bridges the gap in between. And so I don't have a lot of data about that. So good point for more specificity in the question. I don't mind if they're long questions. So make sure to, again, tell your stories, relate to it, and then transition into your offer. The thing that's popping in my head is kind of causing me some confusion right now. The real answer to this question, or the better answer, I should say, is a survey. So if you have the opportunity to talk to the audience or talk to your list, survey them, ask them what they want, and then deliver the talk around that. Go to the promoter and say, what is one thing, or what are a couple areas that's not being served by your speakers? Or what do your audience want to know? And build a talk around that. And you may say, well, I don't know what they, I don't know how to, do this incision, right? If you're in like medical world, right? So then you would go more success, but you want to get in their world, ask the question, then you get the data, and then you can build the talk. So you always ask the market what they want, and then you deliver the product around that. A lot of people say, oh, well, I want to create this product and I want to go sell it to the world, but they might not want this. They do, because this is Doug Bench, our client, worked with him. Hope you're on here, Doug, love you. So again, he surveyed the marketplace and built a product around that. Next question.
So that was actually our last question.
Wow.
We had a lot of people recommend that you gargle some salt water.
Okay. During?
Multiple people wrote this.
During the hangout?
Yeah. So
oh, really?
Thank you for your recommendations to help Dustin get better.
Yeah, thanks for that. Dave has a whole bunch of tricks and remedies for doing that, because Dave used to speak twice a day, 5 days a week at Foreclosures Daily, a seminar company, did Inc. 500, that thing. So he was speaking, and not only that, we had teams of speakers there. So he had all these tricks and remedies, and quite frankly, I thought it would be good to go by this webinar. But you should definitely always be prepared. Next time, well, actually, I won't ever be this way next time. So I'll just be ready to rock next time. But I do appreciate the love and the comments that you shared. And so for those of you that got in a little bit late, this was an open office, kind of informal. If you like this and you want us to do some more, just let us know on Facebook, respond back that you enjoyed this. If you have any ideas on asking questions or what you want to hear about, I want to know. So if you want me to prepare more material in marketing or speaking, if you want me to put some cool slides in this, if you want to do more teaching, less questions, let me know, because I'm customizing this around you. And it's very rare that I do this. Even more so now as the CEO and the marketing guy, I'm actually removing myself. Dave's more out in the front, And so I'm more behind the scenes. And so at our live events, you can get access to me, or obviously in our programs, you can. And then I'm going to make myself available throughout the year via these Hangouts as well. And so I really enjoyed doing this. As crazy as the voice sounds, I really loved answering the questions, and I love the tricky ones. Makes it fun, entertaining, and exciting. And so again, I can't stress enough, I know events have changed my life, and so no matter where you are out in the world, I invite you to come to our Speaking and Marketing Academy. Dave's sharing some really killer stuff. We actually have our Russian promoter and friend Valery coming in, who's looking for people for webinars. He's looking for products to take over into the Russian marketplace. If you don't speak Russian, don't worry, because Dave and I went over there last year, I think it was, and we went to Moscow and St. Petersburg. Ironically, we're in St. Pete, Florida. We went to St. Petersburg, Russia. And so that's the cool thing about our events is not only do you get cutting edge strategies, but you're also going to get access to promoters. So there could be somebody in the room that has a 50,000 person list. There could be somebody that's doing tons of seminars. And so they come back to Speaking Empire to find speakers, to find folks. And so maybe you don't have a product or service, put yourself in that environment because it's good. You need to build these relationships now. And also too, maybe you don't create a product or service yet. You go and you start selling, you go out and you start speaking for other people, and you figure out your way in this world. And so that's my big advice. Again, you can call us here in the office at the phone number, or SpeakingEmpire.com, or better yet, SpeakingMarketingAcademy.com. And again, leave your feedback and comments. And if you know anyone that would benefit from Speaking Empire and kind of our vibration, if you want to call it that, like our place of service and giving, please let us know. Please share this with other folks. And then, well, it won't let me get off this Hangout. This is going to be on YouTube. So for sure, subscribe to the channel, and for sure, like this video, comment. She will be monitoring the comments. They come back to me, and we'll be doing this for the next Hangout. So anything else, Manuela? Is that a wrap?
Thank you.
All right, went a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's because I'm here to serve you guys and have some fun too. So that's it for now. Until then, we'll see you at the next Hangout. Hopefully see you at the next event, SpeakingEmpire.com/events. And we'll see you on the internet, I guess. Is that how I should end? No, I'll tell you, I end this way. So whatever your goal is, remember this, whatever your goal, your vision, lose weight, make money, get on a stage, chunk it out, do one action a day, which read an email, read a book, buy a product, go interview somebody, pick up the phone and call somebody, take an action every day, even on Sunday, I know the day of rest, read something there. Take an action, because at the end of a year, you'll take in 365 actions towards your goal. So just chunk it out, and I sign off with that. Love you guys. Thanks so much, and talk to you later.